Imagine a huge ocean of fluid, like air or water, and inside that fluid, we focus on a tiny imaginary box. This box is what we call a differential control volume. It is not a real box, just something we imagine to study what is happening inside a small region. Now this box is extremely small, with length dx, width dy, and height dz. Think of it like zooming in so much that you are looking at a microscopic cube inside the fluid. The reason we take such a small box is because we can assume that properties like velocity and density change smoothly across it, and we can capture those changes using derivatives. We know that density is a scalar field, but velocity is a vector field, which means at each point in the fluid, density is just a value, but velocity must be described along all three directions. The Cartesian x, y, and z axes are like these, and this position is the origin. The fluid is flowing everywhere around this control volume. It can enter from the left, leave from the right, enter from the bottom, leave from the top, and also move in and out along the z direction. So fluid is continuously going in and out of this tiny box. Now here comes the most important idea, and you must understand this deeply. Nature follows conservation of mass. This simply means mass cannot be created or destroyed. So whatever rate at which mass flows into this box, minus whatever rate at which mass flows out of this box, must be equal to how much mass is increasing or decreasing inside the box with time. That is the entire logic behind the continuity equation. Thus, the first question that comes to our mind is, how do we calculate net mass flow rate into this box? Before we proceed further, note that on any face of the box, we treat density as uniform over that face, because the face itself is infinitesimally small. So variation within the face is negligible, and that's why we use a single value of rho there. Now, using the fact that mass equals rho times v, the mass flow rate is given by density multiplied by velocity multiplied by area. But we must be careful, because velocity has direction. So, only the component of velocity perpendicular to a face contributes to flow through that face. Now focus on the left face of the cube. Fluid is entering through that face. The area of that face is dy multiplied by dz. So the rate of mass entering or flowing in from the left side is density multiplied by velocity in x direction multiplied by dy multiplied by dz. Similarly, fluid also enters from the bottom face in the y direction, whose contribution will be density multiplied by velocity in y direction multiplied by dx multiplied by dz, and fluid also enters from the back face in the z direction, whose contribution will be this. So, the net rate of mass flowing into the box is the sum of all these three contributions. Now think about mass leaving the cube. Fluid leaves from the right face, top face, and front face. Here is a very important detail. If the left face is at position x, then the right face is at position x plus dx. Similarly, the top face is at y plus dy, and the front face is at z plus dz. So, when we write the rate of mass leaving the box, we use density and velocity at these shifted positions. So again, the rate of mass flowing out of the box is density multiplied by velocity multiplied by area, but evaluated at shifted points. Now let us talk about mass inside the box. The total mass inside is simply density multiplied by volume dV, and the volume dV of the box is dx times dy times dz. So mass inside becomes density multiplied by this. Again, note that we are assuming the density is approximately uniform in space within that tiny control volume at a given time. It can change with time. It can also change with position, but over a very small volume, that variation is negligible. So we use rho only. Now, if this mass is changing with time, we take the derivative with respect to time. So the rate of change of mass becomes the rate of change of density multiplied by the volume, because we assumed the volume of this box is not changing with time. It is a fixed box. Next, let us put everything together. Rate of mass in, or this minus the rate of mass out, or this equals rate of change of mass inside, or this. Now to simplify it, we divide the entire equation by the volume dx times dy times dz. Then take these two together, then these two, and then these two. These will cancel out, and we are left with this. Hey, can you observe that this is somewhat looking like the first principle of derivative? Since our cube is extremely small, we take the limit as dx, dy, and dz go to 0. When we do this, these small changes turn into derivatives like these. Now take them on the right side to get this. We get the rate of change of density with respect to time plus the spatial change of density multiplied by velocity in the x direction plus the spatial change in the y direction plus the spatial change in the z direction is equal to 0. This final equation is called the continuity equation, and it is the mathematical expression of conservation of mass. By the way, if you have seen my previous video on divergence, link of which is in the description, you can observe that this term is nothing but the divergence of density multiplied by velocity vector. This is the continuity equation in compact differential form. Now let us simplify this further. If the flow is steady, it means nothing is changing with time, so density does not change with time. That term becomes 0. This means for a steady flow, the divergence of density multiplied by velocity equals 0. Then, if the fluid is incompressible, it means density is constant everywhere. It does not depend on position also. So this comes out, and we are left with the divergence of velocity equals 0. This is always true for an incompressible fluid. Let us discuss one more interesting fact. For a fluid flowing through a pipe with varying cross-section area, in incompressible flow, density remains constant, so change of mass with time becomes 0, and thus mass flow rate in equals mass flow rate out at every section. Since mass flow rate is given by rho times A times V, and rho is constant, so we get A times V is constant, which means A1 times V1 equals a 2 times V2, or if area decreases, velocity must increase, and vice versa. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, you can support my channel by joining our community and becoming a member. So, go!